Let's go into the main theme for today, which is animal feed production. Animal feed production. Most all of them they eat feed, and the feed they eat, just like we human beings, you are taught balanced diet. They also eat balanced diet if you want them to grow very well. And the essence of farming most of these animals is to make profit, to make serious profit. So without balanced diet, they won't grow within the time they are supposed to grow. And if they don't grow within the time they are supposed to grow, you won't be happy. That's why we are learning animal feed production today to help us cut costs of production and maximize growth of any livestock we are producing. So, but for today, we'll be focusing on feeds, poultry feeds, and snail feeds. That's what we do practicals. But the formulation we learn can be used to produce feeds for every other animal, including rabbits, grasshopper, pig. I hope you're getting it. So open your minds. It's not hard, but if you meet me one on one, I'll present it as if it's so hard, and I'll follow your money. I'll still teach you. So, but it's not hard. Very, very simple. So, but before we start the formulation, there are some certain things we need to know. There are some factors. There are some things you consider before you choose feed ingredients and the feed formula you need to formulate your feed. Some of those things include the nutritional requirements of the livestock. The nutritional requirements of the livestock. For example, we humans need a certain percentage of protein to grow. Then you also consider the stage or the size of the animal you are formulating the feed for. The stage or the size of the animal you are formulating the feed for. Whether they are fingerlings, juveniles, growers, or adults. So you consider the kind of the nutritional requirement of the animal and the stage of the animal. So generally, including for humans, that's why when we are small, they will tell us give them protein more, children, because they need more protein than us adults. We need more energy, we need more carbohydrates. So generally, all animals, all juvenile animals require higher protein percentage, while adults require lesser protein percentage. For example, now in fish, you can say you have fingerlings, you have growers, and you have adults. But you have other stages, but these are the main stages. I think it's three major stages. These three major stages require different protein levels, and the fingerlings always take higher protein, while the growers take medium protein, and the adult take lesser protein. For example, using their feed sizes, you have 1.5 mm, 2 mm, you have 4 mm and 6 mm, then you have 8 mm, 9 mm. The protein content of 2 mm can be something like 45% of fish feed. And the protein content of 6 mm or 4 mm, which are for growers, is around 30 something percent or 40%, 38, 40%. And the protein content of the adults is around 35% or even 32%. So this is how realistic it can be. The same thing for snail, the same thing for poultry. For poultry, you have starter, you have growers, and you have finishers. For starters, their protein content is really high. If you go check your protein bag and check the protein level, you see around 22% or 23% on the bag. Are you getting me? For growers, you see around 20 to 21%. And for finishers, you see 18, 19%. depending on the feed production company, the brand. So for snails, juvenile snails take smaller proteins, while adult snails, juvenile snails take big higher proteins, while adult snails take higher proteins, take smaller proteins. For juvenile snails, you can see around 26% protein, but for adults, you see 24. So that's how it is. So the next thing you consider is the presence or absence of anti-nutritional factors. There are some things, some elements in food ingredients or some foodstuffs that brings about decrease in growth rate or inhibits growth in animals. It reduces growth rate in animals. And they are mainly found in plant-based proteins. And that's why even for us humans, you process soybean as if you are fighting with soybean. You wash it, you cook it, you still fry it before you turn it to powder, soybean powder. So that's because we are trying to minimize the harmful effects of it in the body. And those harmful things in it is what we call anti-nutritional factors. So those elements, if they are not well processed, will bring about reduced growth rate or even stunted growth in some animals or all animals, depending on the animal and how they process food. So the next thing to check is availability of preferred ingredients. If you like maize, is maize really available in your environment? If you like wheat, is it readily available in your environment? If you prefer fish meal, how accessible is fish meal in your environment? You also check the palatability of the available ingredients. How palatable? Palatable means how is it easily eaten by the animal you are trying to produce it for? How does the animal rush the food? Generally, fish likes fish. That's why you see fish feet smell like fish, because most of the major ingredients in it is fish meal. Are you getting it? So the next thing to check is the cost and benefit of available ingredients. Is it a costly one? Is there any cheaper? Are there cheaper alternatives? If there are cheaper alternatives, you might consider going for the cheaper ingredients. If there are no cheaper alternatives, you check if you can go with what you have. So you also check the available processing technology. How you process the ingredients matters. You have the necessary technology, the necessary equipment to process very well. So feed ingredients. What are the feed ingredients? The feed ingredients are mainly divided into two: protein-based ingredients and energy-based ingredients. But you have other ingredients. Sorry, they are mainly divided into major ingredients and minor ingredients. Major ingredients are proteins and energy. Minor ingredients are things like calcium, minerals, vitamins, and any other supplements you want to include. So the ingredients for feed production are divided into major ingredients and minor ingredients. Major ingredients are proteins and energy or carbohydrates. While minor ingredients are calcium, vitamin, vitamins, minerals, fats and oil. Then any other antibiotic or supplement or let me say growth hormone you want to include, they are all under minor ingredients. So in the formulation, what we normally use are the two. When I talk of formulation, I mean how to draft the formula. What we normally use are the two major ingredients, which are the proteins and the energy. And if it comes to the protein and energy ingredients, we use the protein contents of these ingredients. Are you getting it? That's when you now discover that Rice has protein, maize has protein, wheat has protein, but their protein level is very minute, very small. I think you're getting it. That's why you require major protein ingredients like beans, fish meal, soybean, groundnut cake, cotton seed to supplement lot of rice and maize. And you need maize, another energy base, to supply you more of energy. So you cannot just depend on protein. You cannot just cook only beans. Even when you are cooking only beans, you are putting crayfish. You are putting fats and oil, which contains some energy. Are you forgetting it? So in the in protein sources, you have animal-based protein. That proteins that come from animal, and you have plant-based proteins. That's proteins that are plant-based from plants, crops. So animal-based proteins, you have fish meal. Fish meal is usually between 60 to 80% protein. Then you have meat and bone meal. Meat and bone meal. Fish meal is produced when you get any species of fish, whether catfish or arena, tilapia, any species at all. Dry it. When it's well dried, you grind it, it becomes the fish meal. So that's what we have here. We still come and demonstrate it here very well. So meat and bone meal, the same thing. Don't mind the meal. But it's only, if you call meat meal, it means dried meat that is well ground. Bone meal, dry meat that is ground. So you have blood meal. Blood meal is maybe blood from cow. When you kill a cow, you fetch the blood, you dry it. And that's, most people do some drying, but some drying is not advisable because it takes time. And during the process of drying, flies and other microorganisms can enter. So it can be contaminated. If you even dry and make sure that there is no microorganism or flies touching on it, is better. I think you're getting it. Then you can maintain hygiene through that process. But scientifically, they will tell you that over drying feed ingredients, some of them are very fragile, that too much heat can degrade the nutrient content of the ingredients. That's why, especially plant-based ingredients. That's why when you want to process ugu leaf, pumpkin leaf, they use it for food too. That's my understanding work. I try to substitute pumpkin leaf ugu leaf with fish meal, and eventually fish meal did better. But at a particular percentage, ugu performs reasonably. So even if you are substituting it, you can't substitute it totally. So if you are processing something like ugu or any other leaf, you shade dry or you dry under room temperature, not sun dry and not oven dry. So you have a blood meal. When you get the blood, you dry it. After drying it, you now grind it powdered. It serves as blood meal. But the major challenge blood meal is having is that the digestibility is very low. The protein content is very high, see, 80 to 86%. It's even higher than that of fish meal. But the digestibility is low. So you have a meat and bone meal in combination with blood meal. You can get meat and bone meal, combine it with blood meal, and you still get the protein source of the protein source or ingredient for feed. So you get catfish or fowl meal. Then you have poultry byproducts like poultry feathers. Now, the treat old protein feathers with enzymes, the digestive enzymes, in order to produce proteins for animal feeds. So in plant-based protein, you have soybean meal, but it has anti-nutritional factors. So if you don't treat it well, you might have stunted growth animals, whether fish or poultry or snail. You have groundnut cake meal. You have cotton seed meal. You have distillers dry grain. That's for people that are into beer production or drink production. The chaff they bring out can be used as a meal. Are you forgetting it? So you have
That's the one they used to feed pig. The
yes,
one they get from Nigeria.
yes. That's distiller dry grain. You have canola meal, canola meal. And you have many others. But we just put up this few so you see. You can browse about plant-based proteins for feed production or animal feed production. And you see many of them. And you can browse about animal-based protein source. Then for energy supplement, you have corn, rice, wheat, millet. You have rice bran. That's where they process rice. The chaffs and other breakages from rice. Then milo is also a good source. The normal milo we see that we drink, it's also a good source of carbohydrate. Then other ingredients include calcium. In calcium, you can use limestone, you can use eggshells, you can use bone meal. In bone meal, you have fish bone meal, you have other bone meals. For example, goat bone meal, cow bone meal. So you have fats and oil. You have animal fats, you have plant fats. In animal fats, pig has enough oil. You can use pig oil, you can use fish oil. The one we're using today is fish oil, but the fat of fish oil mixed with some oil. So as you process even fish oil, the fat in it can be kept for other uses. Then you have premixes, and in the premixes, you will see vitamin and mineral premix. Some you have vitamin premix separate, some have mineral premix separate. Then other premixes can be lysine, methionine, but in this one you have this one contains lysine, methionine, different vitamins and different minerals. Then we have pellet binders, but most times people don't use pellet binders. Pellet binders are what makes when you cook the ingredients, they will be sticky, they will gum together. But because we are going to be using enough uh, carbohydrates, maize, and millet, we are going to be we are not going to be using pellet binders. But when you go to markets and look for, you can even browse our pellet binders. There are different kinds of them. But locally, some people use pap, the same which is the same maize. And you see when you do pap, you see how thick it becomes. So the next thing is the formulation. The formulation, how to draft the formula. How to draft the formula. In the formulation, we use only the major ingredients, which is both protein and energy ingredients. That's what we use for the formulation. And we use their protein content in the formulation. Their protein content. So before we go on, let's get to know the ingredients we have here, their names, then we start formulation. In the formulation, you can decide to use single ingredients, whereby for protein you use only one source, maybe fish meal. For energy, you use only one source for energy, maybe maize or rice. How to write the formula is different. You can decide to use double ingredients, whereby for protein you use two instead of one. Some people prefer it because of cost. Fish meal is very expensive. So people mix fish meal and soybean meal, or fish meal and cottonseed meal, or fish meal and groundnut cake meal, or any other protein source. Please, most people don't use beans because one, beans is low in protein. And as much as you know that beans is the most common thing that we eat as protein is involved. When you compare the fish meal, the protein content of fish meal, soybean meal, groundnut cake meal, they are close to 40 something, 50 something, 60 something. But the protein content of beans is 20 something. It's almost like that of maize. Though maize is 10. I don't forget it. So beans is low. And beans, you know how it disturbs our stomach. You will think your fowl is having problem when you give it to it. So you don't normally use beans. So we'll learn how to draft for the single formula first. Then we'll now do that of two formulas, double formulas. You can even do three formulas or even four. In the sense, but when you learn the double, you can always do for three, four, five. You can start to use five protein ingredients and formulate it. You can start to use three or four or even two energy ingredients. So let's look at what we have here. This is our weighing scale. So in anything we are doing, what we are trying to do is to determine the quantity of each ingredient to mix together to get the quantity of feed we want. So weighing scale is necessary because if you don't weigh them, if you estimate, certainly you have some errors. But when you weigh, you minimize the errors that might be in the formulation. So this is a digital weighing scale. This is our fish meal. This is our fish meal. And for the sake of these practicals, we have only fish meal as the protein source of energy. As the protein source, sorry. Then we have two energy ingredients. This is the maize, well ground. So this is the maize to be used for snail feed and fish feed, well ground. But the maize to be used for poultry feed, depending on the size of poultry. Depending on the size of poultry. Depending on the size of poultry or the size of the bed, we are going to be using this one to formulate for growers mash. So you see, maize for energy, the first energy ingredient is not well ground. You can see some chaff inside. This is the maize for the fish and snail feed. They are actually well ground. I don't forgetting it. Maize. This is the millet or wheat, the wheat for the energy source, the second energy ingredient, well ground for fish and snail feed. So this is the wheat for poultry feed. It's not well ground. So that's the it for the major ingredients. So for minor ingredients, this is bone meal, fish bone meal, well ground. Fish bone meal. This is your fats and oil. Fish oil. Then this is your vitamin and mineral premix. Vitamin and mineral premix. When you enter the market, you have many of them. But this is specifically made, though it's multi-purpose, but they drill chicken on it. Fish has its own too. But for the sake of this practical, we are going to be using this for all the feeds we are producing today. So this is our plates, this is our tray, the weighing scale, the pot for the cooking. In fish feed, you cook. In poultry feed, most times you don't cook for local feed production. For snail feed, you don't cook. So this is our pelletizer, fish feed pelletizer. The fish feed pelletizer. If you look through here, you see They call it dye. The perforated end is dye, 6 dye. That's what you use. This pelletizer, the function is to mold the feed into shapes, into round shapes, so that the fish can feed on them. So that's the function of this pelletizer, to form it, to mold it. So the dye we have here is 6 dye. So we can bring it out and put 2 dye, 3 dye, 4 dye, 6 dye, or 8 dye. But for this is 6 dye. So let's keep it. We'll come and fix it later. Then this is our tray. And this is our gas cylinder. So back to the formulation. It seems like sun is disturbing us today.
Let's look at this. Let's use example I give is what of 45% protein in fish meal, fingerlings. So we'll work on that first. Then we'll still draft for poultry and for other animals. Fish meal, what's the protein content? Mainly, if you are doing industrial feed production, you should send all your ingredients, take a sample, send it to the lab for proximate analysis. That's when they will tell you the protein content, the energy content, the moisture content, everything. But for the sake of this class, we can get online. And I didn't forgetting it. So even for the sake of your small production, you can still estimate based on what you have online. Then you can even browse what type of fish meal are you using? Is it catfish meal? What you have here is catfish meal. And catfish meal has up to 60 something percent protein. While generally wild fishes have higher protein. I don't forget it. No, so sorry, farmed fishes has higher protein. Why wild fishes has lesser protein? Because farmed fishes are being fed with diets that are rich in protein. They enrich their feed with protein. So that's why farmed fishes, cultured fishes, what you see, they are pond fishes, has higher protein than wild fishes. So you can browse more about, you can browse catfish, protein content of catfish meal, protein content of wild fish meal, protein content of pond fish meal, protein content of tilapia fish meal. Any fish species you want to use as your fish meal source, you browse about the protein content. So for the single ingredient, maize has up to 9-10% protein. Some maize is up to 11% protein. I don't forgetting it. Then fish meal, let's say it's 62% protein. So in the estimation, what you are trying to do is to balance the protein level. For single ingredients, you normally draw a box. When you draw a box, you write fish meal here. The protein, this thing is usually up, while the energy is usually down. Then you write maize meal here. Then you write the percentage protein by the side, by the left side of the box, which is 62. And that of maize meal, 9%. Then at the center of the box, what you write here is the protein content of the feed you want to produce. For example, let's say you want to produce a fish feed for fingerlings, and you know that it's really high, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45. So we are taking that we want to produce a feed that the content of that feed, the protein percentage of the crude protein of that feed is 45%. You write it at the center of the box, 45%. Then you draw an arrow that is going like this. Draw an arrow going up like this. The arrow should go diagonally. Then you subtract. 62 minus 45, you write it down. That's the essence of the arrow. 62 is the percentage for fish meal. 45 is what you are looking to produce. 9 is the percentage protein of maize. 45% at the middle is the feed, the protein content of the feed you want to produce. So you do 62 minus 45. See, someone should do it for us. Okay? 17. You write it down. Then you do 9 minus 45. 30, 36. Minus 36. You ignore this minus sign. Always ignore the minus sign. Just ignore it. Then, when you get it like this, to confirm if what you did is right, you do this minus this and this plus this. You minus the left side and add the left side. If they give you the same value, you are good. 36 plus 17 is what?
53.
53.
Yes.
62 minus 9 is what? 53. That means we are good. We are correct at this stage. We just confirmed that at this stage we are right. So you continue. I don't forget. So, for example, now what you can do is 62 minus 9 is equal to 53. This plus this is equal to 53. The both sides you give 53, 53. That means we are good. I don't forget it. So the next thing to do is to get the protein level for fish meal. So you work with the one on the right side. You're working with the one on the right side for fish meal. It says 36. Now, fish meal, this minus this, you give 17. The 17, you work, use 17, which is for maize, to calculate for maize. Then this minus this, you give 36. You work with 36 for fish meal. So now we are trying to get the protein, the measurement we are going to use for fish meal. So 36 divided by 53 times, you normally do 100, but because we have minor ingredients, usually the minor ingredients, major ingredients always take up to 90% of the whole mixture, while minor ingredients take around 10% of the whole mixture. So that's why we're going to be timesing by 90. Then the minor ingredients will be 10%. Are you forgetting it? So times by 90. Some people will do 88. Some people will even do 92, depending on the animal we are producing. Are you forgetting it? If I'm doing that of snail now, I can decide to do 88 and give more of calcium to snail because snail requires more of calcium because of the shell. Are you forgetting it? So times by 90 is equal to, you can do it. $60, 61.1. Let's do that of maize. For maize meal, it will be 17 divided by 53. 17 divided by 53 times the same 90. Press it. 28.8. 28.8. So if you add the two, you get 90. Are you forgetting it? The 50.
Is it being can you approximate?
You can approximate. If you add the one, you get
61.12
59.9. You approximate to 90. Are you forgetting it? So now, what this means is that if you add it, you get 89.9, which is approximately 90. So it means that, for example, if you want to produce fish feed, there is 100 grams. It means that the major ingredient will be 90 grams. And in the 90 grams, fish meal is usually bigger because it's the animal, for example, fish feed requires higher protein. I don't forgetting it. You are going to mix 61.1 gram of fish meal with 28.8 gram of maize meal. Then the minor ingredients will now be 10%. So the minor ingredients are usually calcium. Then you get fats and oil. Vitamin and mineral premix. There's no other one. So three major is usually giving up to 4%. While fats and oil takes 3. Vitamin and mineral premix takes 3. If you have premixes that you have vitamin separate, mineral separate, what you are going to be giving it is 1.5, 1.5. If you have other supplements, maybe lysine, methionine, and you discover that the protein, the fish meal, or maybe you are using soybean or any other protein source that is lacking lysine and methionine, you can now reduce the percentage of this one. Maybe instead of 90, you can do it 88, 87. Are you forgetting it? Then you now know that the other 3 is for methionine, lysine. Methionine and lysine are among the essential amino acids we have. They are supposed to be in protein. But some ingredients, when you browse about any ingredient you want to use, fish meal has enough methionine and lysine. Maize meal is good. Are you forgetting it? Groundnut cake meal have enough methionine and lysine. But some ingredients like cottonseed meal is lacking in methionine. Some of them is even lacking in methionine and lysine. That means if you are using them because they are cheap, you have to buy methionine and lysine supplements in the market. In doing that, you increase the minor ingredients this thing maybe to 12 or 13 and reduce the other one to 8 or 87. Do you understand? So now you can say that calcium, let's give it 4. Oil, 3. Vitamin and mineral premix, 3. What this means is that this one is 1.1 gram of fish meal, 28.8 gram of maize meal. Calcium will be 4 gram only because fish meal even contains some calcium. I'm not forgetting it. Even the calcium contains, because it is fish bone meal, it contains some even fish meal, some protein percentage. So oil will be 3 gram. Vitamin and mineral premix will be 3 gram. If you are producing 100 kg of fish feed, the same thing. Are you forgetting it? If you are producing 25 kg, let me reduce 25 kg. What you should be doing is to estimate the percentage of minor ingredients. 25 by 100 is 4. So the 90 will be divided by 4. I'm not forgetting it. You get what you should be here. What should be here? The 10 should be divided by 4. You see that it will be 2.5. So the minor ingredients will be 2.5. I'm not forgetting it. Then the other one will be 22.5. So instead of timesing by 90, you are now timesing by 22.5. If you want to produce 10 kg feed, you now know that the total ingredients will be 10 kg. So what you will do now is for major ingredients around 9 kg, minor ingredients 1 kg. I'm not forgetting it. Then in timesing, after solving here, 36 divided by 53 times 9 instead of 90 or 22.5. Then for minor ingredients, it will now be 1, which is 0.4, 0.3, 0.3. I'm not forgetting it. So that's how to calculate it for single ingredients. Let's do another single ingredient formulation. Let's do for poultry. And for poultry, we can decide to, for poultry, starters, chicks, they old chicks are not there, they eat up to 20% protein. Their protein percentage is usually high. Then for finishers, 18-19% protein. So let's okay, we should do for starter. We draw a circle and which one are we doing for? Starter, which is 22 or 23. Are we going for 22 or 23? 23. Starter, we assume that we are going for 23% feed. You write it there. Then you draw your arrow up. Then we are using fish meal. Most feed producers don't use fish meal because it's very essential. The nutrient it contains, no other ingredient contains it. So even if you want to remove fish meal entirely, it's not advisable. It's always good to put it. Even if you go into a double ingredients, you can see that you can put, if you want to use fish meal and groundnut cake, you can decide to use 1 part of fish meal and 2 times of groundnut cake. It means you reduce fish meal so well and brought groundnut cake up. For example, if I carry an ingredient of this hand for fish meal, I'll carry groundnut cake, assuming this is groundnut cake. And I carry groundnut cake 1, 2. I don't forget it. But it's not advisable to remove fish meal entirely. It's not advisable. So let's say that we are using fish meal as the major protein source, and the fish meal is around 65% protein. And our maize meal, or let's use rice. Now rice is around 9% protein or 8% protein. Then we solve. This minus this, we write it here. What's the answer? 42. 8 minus 23, 15. You ignore the signs. Then you add the right and minus the left to know if you are correct. This minus this is 53. Huh? Okay, 57. Then you add the right. 57. So we are good to go. So now what we did is to get the total of this side. I don't forget it. That's what we will divide with. Then for fish meal, it's equal to 15 divided by 57. Times what's the weight? What's the total weight of feed we want to produce? Are we going to produce 100 kg weight of feed or 50 kg weight of feed? Let's use a number that is not so common. Like let's not use 100. Let's not use 10. Huh? 25 kg. So let's use 25 kg. So we are going to be producing 25 kg, but the major ingredient is 90%. So 90% of 25 kg is how much? Let's do the maths. 90 divided by 100 is 90% times 25 kg. Press it, please. Yes. Because you don't know how to produce. You don't know how to produce 9 kg. You don't know how to produce 5 kg. People we should even use 5 kg. I don't forget me. Let's use 5 kg. Yes, 25 is high. Let's use 5 kg because you might this thing now might be around 1.2 kg. And 5 kg might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 go. I don't forget me. So let's use 5 kg. And 90% is usually the major ingredient. 90% is usually the major ingredient. So we want to produce a 5 kg feed, poultry feed, that has 23% protein. I don't forgetting it. Now, and the major ingredient is 90% of that 5 kg. So we want to get how many kg in 5 kg is 90%. So 90 over 100 is 90% times 5 kg. times 5 kg is equal to what? 4.5. 4.5. It means that minor ingredients is 10 divided by 100 times 5 kg is equal to 0.5 kg. This is 4.5 kg. Are you seeing it? So now, in calculating for major ingredients, what we are going to be doing is 15 divided by 57 times 4.5. Do you understand? Times 4.5 kg is equal to, you have 42 divided by 57. 42 divided by 57 times 4.5 kg is equal to 3.3. 3.3. 3.3 kg. So if you add the two now, you get 4.5. So now for minor ingredients, you have calcium, you have oil, you have vitamin and mineral. So we're going to be sharing 0.5 to the minor ingredients. So in sharing it, so calcium will be 0.2 kg. 0.15. So it will be 0.15 kg and 0.15 kg. If you add all of them, you get 5 kg. All of them. Add all the major and minor ingredients, get 5 kg. If you're working with 100 kg, add all of them, get 100 kg. Anytime you add and it's 101, then you can still be correct. I don't forget it because of the approximation. But if you add and it's more than, if it's 98, you're not correct. Go and check where you're making mistake. If it's 97 or 90, check where you're making mistake. If you add and it's very much above 100, check where you're making mistake. But most times it's 100 kg, it's 99.9, it's 100 and maybe 100 kg point one. I don't forgetting it. So that is it. Have you all understood it? Any question? So I'll go to this thing, double ingredient. Because in reality, what most people use is double ingredient, and that's the one we need to learn very well. For have you understood single ingredient very well? Okay. Let's go to double ingredient. The first thing to do is to know the percentage protein of all the ingredients. When you know the percentage protein of all the ingredients, then you now start formulating or calculating. So let's say that the protein we are going to use are two, fish meal and one other one. Which other one? Fish meal, let's say soybean meal. Soybean meal, SBM, soybean meal, and the protein of fish meal, let's say that is 60%. What's the okay 62%, and then let's say that soybean meal is 45%. Then for energy source, let's use rice and maize. And for rice meal, let's say 8% protein. For maize meal, let's say 9% protein. So when you know the protein content, you formulate the protein content. You should now know the parts to mix them. That's the ratio. Are you going to mix one ratio of fish meal to one ratio of maize meal? What it means is that if you measure 1 spoon of fish meal, you're going to measure 1 spoon of soybean meal. But if you want to use more of fish meal, you can decide to use 2 parts of fish meal and 1 part of soybean meal. Meaning, if you measure these 2 spoons for fish meal, you measure 1 spoon for soybean meal. That's 2 parts is to 1. 2 is to 1. You can decide to use 3 is to 1. That's 3 spoons of fish meal and 1 spoon of soybean meal. But these things are based on weight, and the weight is what we want to determine. Are you forgetting it? So now, let's assume that we are working with 2 parts of groundnut cake meal and 1 part of fish meal. So 1:2. Then for energy source, let's say that we are working with 1:1. So, in the box, we only calculate with 1% protein. But here you see 65 and 45. So what we are trying to do here is to bring out one protein source by finding the kind of the average. But you can't just find the average by adding the two and dividing. You find the average based on the quantity you want to mix in the two. So since we are going for 1:2 for protein source, what we do is to times it. 62 times 1 is 62. 45 times 2 is 90. Then you add the 2. 152. Then the parts, the total of the parts is 3. You now divide the 152 by 3 and get a single protein source. When you get it, you now call it protein. Divide by 3. 50. 50 point. So the protein is 50.7. And what you are looking for, let me see this thing. I think it's 22% protein. Starter feed. Yes. So we are looking for 22% protein. Then you add it. So for this, 8 times 1 is 8. 9 times 1 is 9. You add it. It's 17. 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. So the energy is 8.5% protein. You subtract 50.7 minus 22 and 8.5 minus 22. Let's be fast so that we can go. 28 point 28.7. 28.7. 8.5 minus 22. 13.5. Add the 2 and minus the 2. Add 42.2. Does the minus give you the same thing? Okay. 42.2. So now you want to get the protein. Protein is now 13.5 divided by 42.2. What's the quantity we are going to be producing? Let's use round figure of 10 kg. So, in fact, maybe in second learning, we can use another distance. So, times 90%, which is 9. Abi? So, times 9 is equal to what? 2.9. 2.9 kg. So, now, the 2.9 kg is the total protein. Now, we want to get the weight for fish meal and the weight for soybean meal. And how to do it is using these parts. So it means, and total of this 1 plus 2 is 3. So it's going to be 1 divided by 3 times this. So for fish meal now, it's going to be 1 divided by 3. That's 1 over 3. 1 part. While the soybean meal is 2 parts. 1 divided by 3 times 2.9 kg. 0.97 kg. For soybean meal, it's going to be 2. We are mixing it 2 times, divided by 3. 2 divided by 3 times 2.9 kg. 1.93. 1.3 kg. Add it, you get 2.9. So now, solve for energy level and still break it down to get the rice weight and the maize meal weight. Should I clean here? So we know that energy is 6.1. 6.1 kg. So if you add 6.1 kg and 2.9, you get 9 kg. Then you add 10% of supplement, you get 10. That's 1 of over 10, which is 10% of the 10 kg weight you want to produce, you get 10. So, but you have to break it down to rice meal is equal to 1:1, which is 1 over 2. Okay? Times 6.1 is equal to 3.05. Abi? 3.05 kg. Maize meal is the same to 1 over 2 times 6.1 kg is equal to 3.05. Add the 2, you get 6.1 kg. So now for minor ingredients, which is going to be calcium, bone meal, sorry, the calcium is the bone meal, oil, then vitamin and mineral. In the 1, 0.4 is calcium, which is 4 over 10. 0.4, oil, 0.3 kg, 0.3 kg, vitamin and mineral premix, 0.3 kg. So when you add this and this and this, you get 10. That's the weight of the fish you want to produce, kg you want to produce. Now, when you produce your feed and send it to the lab, it will be close to 22%, either slightly above or slightly below or 22%. I don't forgetting it. So now let's do practicals. Let's formulate the one we use and do practicals. Then, when we do, what's the time? Depending on the snail size. But Juvenile snails eat around 26% protein. The same thing. So we demonstrate poultry and fish. Then, if you can stay, we'll do that of snail, but let's just do the major ones. Poultry first. So we're going to be doing now. We are going to be using one protein source and two energy source. What we did now, we used two protein and two energy. Now we will do one protein and two energy. So we're going to be using our ingredients. Our ingredient is fish meal for protein. Protein is fish meal. The energy source is maize meal, maize meal and wheat meal. So the percentage protein for the fish meal is 60%. For the maize meal is 10%, and for the wheat meal is 8%. So now, as we're using only this, that means it's one part, no computation, no formulation, no calculation to get the one protein this thing. So you just go straight to the point. As we're using maize meal and wheat meal, because maize has more protein, we can decide to do two parts of maize and one part of wheat meal. I don't forget it. So in doing to do two parts of maize meal and one part of wheat meal. So we assign it 2, 1. Then you multiply. 10 times 2 is 20. 30 times 1 is 8. You add and you add. This is 3 and this is 28. 28. So to get a single protein percentage, protein percentage for the energy source, you do 28 divided by 3. 9.3. 9.3. So it means the energy source has 9.3% protein all together. So now you draw your box. Which animal are we producing for? Poultry. So now we are going for starter, grower, or finisher. Which one? Let's go for grower. Grower. So we assume that grower should have about huh? Okay, but 19 is, I think let's use 20. 20. So you draw your arrow. Then for protein, which is fish meal, you have 60%. For energy, you have 9.3%. Then 60 minus 20 is 40%. 9.3 minus this is 10.7%. Abi? Huh?
19.
You add 50.7. You subtract 50.7. You are correct, Abi. Then let's get our fish meal. It will now be 10.7 divided by 50.7. What's the weight we will produce? Let's do small 1 kg. So we are doing practicals now, 1 kg total of everything, 1 kg. So and in 1 kg, 90% of 1 kg is 0.9. I don't forgetting it. We can do it in grams. 1 kg in gram is 1,000 gram. This can weigh in gram also, Abi. So let's do 1,000 gram so that it will be fast in calculation. So 1,000 gram is 900 gram for 10%. So times 900. So 10.7 divided by 50.7 times 900. One 190 gram. 190 gram. Then energy is 40 divided by 50.7 times 900 gram. Seven ten gram. 710 gram. Maize meal is equal to 2/3 times 710, 10 gram. While wheat meal is equal to 1/3 times 710 gram. Maize meal 473.3. Wheat meal 236.6. 236.7 gram. Minor ingredients. You have bone meal as calcium. You have fish oil. And you have vitamin and mineral premix. And what we have for it is 100 gram. And out of that 100 gram is 40, 30, 30. Do you understand? Which is 4/10, 3/10, and 3/10. So 40 grams, 30 grams, and 30 grams. These are what we are going to mix. So these are what we are going to mix. Fish meal, maize meal, wheat meal, bone meal, fish meal, and vitamin and mineral premix. So let's mix immediately. So you remove the weight of the scale. Remove the weight, zero it, then it's already in gram. So you see it's reading in gram. So now let's start with fish meal. So fish meal is 190 grams. One 52, 177, 209. Let's reduce it to 190. 191.
189. 1 gram
So now 190 gram. Remove the weight. Let's go for maize meal. 473 gram. No, we are producing growers poultry bed feed. For bed feed, because of growers, if it is starter chicks, you can use this because they can't pick the big size of this. But for growers, if you use it, it's hard for them to pick. So that's why you use this. I don't forget it and this. So these are the two ingredients we are going to be mixing now. As we're mixing it, let's open this. So this is 473.3. Let's approximate it to 473. So we pour it. Bone meal. Okay, so wheat meal is 236. So we are going to be approximating to 237 for the this thing. Wheat meal 237. 237. Good. Bone meal. Bone meal is 40 grams. 43 grams. Reduce it to 40. 40 grams. Pour it. Fish oil. 30 grams. So you see, just like someone cooking a very big pot of soup and you still use small oil, like this can cook maybe 2 pots of stew or 1 pot. Same thing, small oil, so they don't need much oil. Even fish meal has oil. You see, fish meal has oil. Bone meal still has oil. So, but this is just 30 grams. You can now reduce it. You can get another spoon for it.
Is it
It's inconsequential. So let's 30 grams of oil. 30 grams of oil. Then the next thing is vitamin and mineral premix. 30 grams.
30 grams. That's all the ingredients for the feed you want to produce, which is 20% protein, poultry feed. If you have all the equipment we should have, we have a scale, we have measured everything. The next thing is to use a mixer. There's a machine called mixer. When you put it, the machine turns it very well, uniformly. I don't forget it, but we don't have a mixer, we mix with our hand. So in mixing, you mix thoroughly. Cover the oil so it doesn't pour the oil, cover it. So the mixing, you mix thoroughly.
Hello. Please remove that way. Okay, is it on?
Yes, it's on. You can off after 60 seconds or so. Or you off it by yourself. And since it's animal feed, anything you are doing, if you want to do with your hand, wash thoroughly. Always wash your hand very well. Because from this, they can have infection or any other kinds of disease.
So that's why I don't even want to use hand now.
So if you don't mix thoroughly, the nutrients will be in one side. So one bed can finish the whole protein in this thing, or the whole this thing. So that's why using mixer is very, very necessary, very, very essential. So you see the color. It's not different from what you see in the market, except that the market one was pelletized. So they have pelletizing machine for poultry feeds also, but with this, your birds can eat very well. I didn't forgetting it. So, and the digestion will be very good. So that's it for poultry feed. You can feed them now. No, this one is for fish feed. We are going to do practicals now on that one. But this is poultry. Then for snail feed, when you formulate and you mix with well-ground ingredients, you don't cook, you don't do anything. You just preserve or you send it to the oven because of the oil to dry the distance more again. I don't forgetting it. You feed your snail, you bag it and feed your snail. For fish feed, after mixing, you cook, then you pelletize. If you have a extruding machine, which is used to make the feed float, you send it to an extruder. It heats it to a very high temperature. Extruder heats the feed to a very high temperature to make it very light. Then you give it to your fish. So now,
Will it have effect on
the quality of the this thing
the
will not.
quality of
It will not.
the
It will.
percentage content of the ingredient?
It will not have much effect on it. And that's why they advise that we don't use much of plant-based ingredients like leaves. Because if you send leaves to the extruder, it will denature it to reduce the distance. But for most of this year, even fish is already dried. Maize is already sun-dried. I don't forgetting it. So sending it to the this thing is not still different. It's still the drying process that it undergoes to come to get to this stage. So we are done with the poultry feed. You can see it. So which bird will not grow well with this kind of protein and this thing? But another thing you should understand is that if we formulate for that of feed, you see that the weight of the protein for feed will be higher because feed naturally requires much protein to grow well. Fish feed, yes, fish. But poultry requires less protein. That's why you see 190 against 710. Snail is almost the same thing with birds. So that generally, a snail grower will eat around 25-26% protein. But here is 20. But fish, for growers, is 40, 39, 40, 41. Some people even 42. That's why the protein will be higher. Almost times 2 of this. So let's do that formulation for fish. Then we'll do the practicals for fish and go. You have learned a lot. What you learned here, the formulation and the mixing is what you need. Especially this formulation.
How do you preserve this one?
Just by drying. It's already dried ingredients. So bring it out and bag it. It's already preserved. And you see the oil is very minimal. So it can't even spoil fast. And this oil stays like this for months. It doesn't spoil. So let's only fish meal as a protein source. You have only fish meal as the protein source, and fish meal is 60% protein. Then the energy, we have maize meal and wheat meal, which is 10% protein and is it 8 or 9? And 9% protein. Okay, now the parts to mix is now where another decision comes. The parts to mix them. Is it 1:1 or 2:2 or 3:1? Which one should you go for?
Let's be 1 to 1. 1:1 to
1:1. So 1:1, which is 10 and 19. Then you add 19, 2. 19 divided by 2. 8 or 9. 9.5% protein. So you draw your box. So for you are producing fish feed now. And let's say that we want to produce fish feed for growers. Let's say 40% protein. Maybe we want to produce 6 fish feed because the dye we have here is 6 So we say 40% protein. You draw your arrow. Then fish meal is 60%, and energy is 9.5%. 60 minus 40 is 20%. 9.5 minus 40 is 30.5. Add and minus for verification. 50.5. So for fish meal, it will be 30.5 divided by 50.5. Times, are we going to do the same 1 kg, which is 1,000 grams, 900 grams times 900 grams. One 543. 543.6. So let's approximate 0.6 will now be 544. 544 grams fish meal. For energy, it will be 20 over 50.5 times 900 grams is equal to 156. 356. 350. 56. That's 55 point something. Okay? You are prohibited. 56.4. Okay, 56. 56 grams. So we now break it down to maize and wheat. So maize meal will now be 1/2 times 356. Half of 356 is what? 178. 178 gram is equal to 178 grams. So minor ingredients. Minor ingredients, we have bone meal, we have fish oil, and we have vitamin and mineral. So it will be 100, which is 40. 4/10 times 100 is 40. So it will be 40 grams, 30 grams, and 30 grams. So these are what we are going to mix. Fish meal, 544 gram. Maize meal, 178. Wheat meal, 178. Bone meal. So let's mix.
544 of fish meal.
Yeah.
So we're using well ground ingredients.
That's your favorite.
544. For maize meal, 178. Remove the weight. 178.
Hey, hey.
178. For wheat meal, 178 also.
You know the again.
So 178 also. Then for bone meal, 40 grams. If they don't receive enough bone meal, what will happen is that enough calcium or bone meal, the fish will start having cracked skull. For poultry, their bones will not be strong. You will see that they can't even walk care leg. They will develop care leg. So 40 grams. Forty grams. So for the fish oil, for the fish oil, 30 grams. Thirty grams. For the vitamin and mineral premix, 30 grams.
Small.
30 grams. That's all for the mixing. Then the next thing is to, that's all for the measurement of ingredients. The next thing is to mix thoroughly. So if you have equipment, you send it to the mixer. Are you forgetting it? So you see the color of fish feed is largely influenced by fish meal because fish meal is majority. And see the color of fish meal. And that's why when you see feeds that are sold in the market, they are brownish or dark brownish in color.
add water. You add water so that it will mix well because you are going to cook. It should not be too watery. You add more. The essence of cooking is to activate the ingredients to be sticky, to bind together so that when you are pelletizing, they will form into shapes. So if you are using a mixer now, it will be very fast and easy. Just like people mixing concrete with machine. That machine that has big tummy. It will still cook and rise more and then bind. So as it's cooking, if you think water is, you still need water, you still add more water. So we are getting ready to cook.
What if you pour the water? Pour the water.
Because what you cook till the water dries. Or you mix more ingredients.
Or you put in the oven.
If you put in the oven, it can dry the water. And as it's drying it, it's cooking it. So you cover to cook for some minutes till it binds, start getting sticky. It's the milk, the carbohydrates, the energy source that will make it sticky. If you cook only fish, it will not be sticky. That's why some people add binder to eat,
Okay, like pap.
like pap or any other artificial binder, to make it stick very fast and well.
That's my friend. My friend.
You want water for it to cook very well. That's why you put boil it so that you activate the gum listed in the carbohydrate ingredients, it's maize and the wheat. Because you know, ejo ke sarebo,
Yeah.
jiri wheat sarebo, jiri cassava, that way sarebo. So all these things, when you cook them, they bind together. So able to ojo, if you start pelletizing, you see it will form into shapes, circle shape, like roll. So it's to activate the binder. That's what you boil it.
Suppose we are going for a large meeting, a large.
Yes.
Are there
Big
this big
pelletizer.
weighing
Yeah,
balance?
yes. If you see this gas people, this kind of weighing balance they use in measuring gas, it can weigh 500 kg, 300 kg, depending on the capacity. You have 100 kg weighing scale.
So how do you know to do
You have big cooker
it?
or big pot,
Industrial.
industrial cooker. You have industrial mixer that can mix 100 kg. This is a very small pelletizing machine, though they have smaller ones than this. Some people have industrial facilities that they use gas. They don't use firewood to cook. It's very sticky. So for the sake of time, you can stop here and slide. pelletize, allow to cool. We also use this end with spanners and put it back. So this is the die. This die, you have different sizes. This is 6 mm die. You have 8 mm die that's bigger than this. You have 4 mm die. You have 2 mm die. You have even 3 mm die.
What are that one? 0.2 or 0.5? Those ones.
You have them.
But you can see fit it here now.
Yes.
Okay.
Once you are producing a high protein food for actually for fingerlings or fries.
Fingerlings is 0 point.
For fries, they are in hatchery unit 0 point. So this is meant to be attached on this thing, maybe table or wood on a plank. Then you can get another machine that can be rotating this thing instead of hand. But now we are going to use hand. So you can get a belt, the engine, to rotate it. So you can produce more. Yes. Now once you pelletize, so because of time, we can't allow it to get well cool. So we are going to pelletize like this, so we can go and attend to our families. I seen it. I seen it. So this is meant to enter. So if I'm turning it, you can be doing it like this, so it will be dropping. You can start from here, then take it back to drop, then you start again.
Exactly, this is
It's okay. So if you look at it, you see it's into shapes. Are you forgetting it?
yeah.
So you can turn the other part of the tray, do much of it, then go and spread it. Bring another tray, just like that.
Spread this under the sun or
You can oven dry.
open dry.
But then this one is longer than what they sell in the market.
What they sell in the market is foreign feed. You have pelletizers that can produce that. Once it comes out, it will cut it.
Cut it.
Okay.
But this one is local. If you browse about local feeds, you see it's long. But when it's dried now, you can now break with your hands.
Okay.
I don't forget, if it's dry now, you can now, if you do like this, it will break. And that's even the pictures we put here, you see it's long ones because they are local feeds.
So how can one get this pelletizing machine?
There are people that sell it. This one is from Lagos.
Like how much?
This
now?
one now is 42K plus 5K transpons. Then you have hand one, like exactly the shape of the machine. Yes, that one I think is around 18,000-20,000. When we were in Port Harcourt. But when I asked him, he said his own has finished. The day this one entered, he called me that it's available. And it was almost 1 month ago that I asked him. So it depends on the capacity you want to be producing. But this one can have an engine where you put belts. You start with petrol engine or light engine.
Yeah,
It will drive by itself. You run the supplying when this thing is already fixed on a plank. I don't forgetting it. But the other one is only hand and small quantity.
So this one is better now.
This one is better.
So which of the fish will eat this one now?
Growers, post juveniles.
Okay. It's not for those the ones that just hatch.
No,
Those
no.
fried
You did 40% protein. The one they hatch is around even 50 or 45,
ah.
depending on the size of feed and the stage of fish.
But that one you won't use this palleting this to do that one.
You can use the same pelleting machine, but
Maybe
different dye.
smaller hole, no?
A smaller hole, different. The hole in this whole element is called dye.
But will you if talk about in the hall now, will you allow it to get cool before you do it like this?
Yes, that's to be stronger.
Okay.
To be stronger. Pelletize. If you dry before pelletizing, it to be strong. It will be breaking.
Like if it's dry.
Before you pelletize, it will be breaking.
So you allow it to dry first before
You pelletize. No, you allow it to cool first. Then you pelletize, then allow it to dry.
dry.
After molding them, pelletizing means to mold them. After molding them, you now allow them. I think that's the end for today. If you need certificates, you have certificates. We normally give 1,000, but we give 500 naira. So if you don't need it, that's fine. So, but the truth is it doesn't cover for certificates. So thank you for coming. Thank you for learning. Thank you for everything. Yes, sir.
I noticed as we were preparing this that
Yes.
we used like conventional things that every human being eats.
Yes.
The fish, the bone meal, the meat, the corn that we cook and
Yes.
that. So are we not saying that this is